Okay, I wanted to show you the pull rod fire alarm in this particular school and the various components that make up the pull rod. Of course, you can see the pull rod. This first rod here acts as a sleeve that this smaller diameter rod slides into. Of course, here's the brass pull handle, and then of course the rod goes all the way up where the bells are mounted high up here on the wall. Now you can see the bell to your right is the manual trip bell, and there's a chain that is fastened to the clapper arm or the pull arm, and it's attached to the pull rod. So of course when you pull the rod down, it tightens that chain and it trips the clapper arm, which smacks the bell and rings the bell. The bell over here, this one right here on the left side, the 8-inch bell, that is your electric fire bell. And when you pull the rod down, it rings the manual trip bell, and then there's an actuation switch on the first floor that's also attached to the rod, and when the rod's pulled down, it activates that actuation switch just like a light switch, and that sets off these electric fire bells. This smaller little bell here at the bottom, that's just a class change bell. I think it's an Edwards. What you find a lot in these schools, and it's really unfortunate, these bells usually get painted, which is the worst thing that you can do, especially with this manual trip bell. That's actually solid brass. And the reason they painted the bells is so they don't have to polish them, because they do start to tarnish as they age. So instead of having to polish them all the time, just paint them black. But by putting paint on them, it does destroy the resonating qualities of the bell. It's really the worst thing that you can do because it deadens the decibel put out of the bell. This electric bell here, the 8-inch bell, AutoCall made those, IBM made those. And I'm not really sure who the manufacturer was, but once they were shipped to the different companies, they all relabeled them as their own. But this particular bell, you can't tell because they painted over it. It's an IBM bell, International Business Machine. But it's a single stroke bell, and you'll hear it here in a few minutes in the video because I'm going to set off the system here. But this is your classic pull rod fire alarm, and this building, there's 2 floors. So we have our first floor. We're up here on the 2nd floor. So you can see how it's put together and how it operates.
Some kind of a human being. I get 2 feet, and the other lady said.
We're going into the electrical room here in the school, and here is the Simplex fire alarm control panel. This Simplex panel is model 4208. It is not the original panel that was put in when the school was built in 1948. The original panel was an IBM panel, and actually the treble bells to the IBM panel are still here, right here, and they are tied in to this newer fire alarm control panel. Again, this is a model 4208. It would have been manufactured around 1975, and this panel is tied in to the old fire alarm system. IBM bells, 8-inch bells, are tied in to this panel, as are the manual pull rods that are located throughout the building, and there are some pull stations, Simplex pull stations, that are also tied into this panel. We're going to set this off so you can see it in operation. One of the things I wanted to point out to you was this code wheel here. Simplex was a company that made a very unique code wheel. As you can see, these little teeth, they're right here. These could be pulled out, and you could place them anywhere on the code wheel here, so you could actually customize your code. This particular code is 444, and some of it's covered up by this bar here, but this is the 4444 marching code, and we'll see that in operation here in a few minutes. But this panel doesn't have really too many moving parts. We have all these relays right here. And of course, like I said, the code motor's right here. There's another relay right there. And as you can see, there's a couple more over here. But these are the gong circuits right here. So it's a pretty tight little panel.
Well,